you might have already guessed what bronzer we're working with today, but we're just jumping right in. So I'm gonna show y'all my complexion routine before we get to the good part. So I'm just prepping my skin with the NARS Soft Matte Concealer. I'll have the shade names and official names of everything I'm using down below. So I'm going in after that with my Tatcha primer. I've been liking this primer a lot lately. I decided to go for a glowy look, so I'm using this Live Tinted Hue Glow. It's like a serum and a highlighter all in one, so I'm just putting that before I put foundation on just to get a little bit of that glow from within look, because why not? So today's foundation is this Shiseido foundation. I actually really like this foundation, or at least for like more like natural glowy looks. Again, my shade and everything will be down below, but yeah, it actually has a pretty decent range, especially for Shiseido. But yeah, and I figured why not use a little bit of a bougier product since we are doing a luxury product video. So I just use a brush to apply, and I'm blending that in with my sponge. And next, well, that's what we're looking like so far. Next, going in with concealer, I'm using 2 shades of NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. Again, the shade names that I'm using will be down below. I like a little bit of a kind of an orange concealer, but also putting in some of those golden undertones back into the skin with that more like yellowy one. So I just like to mix, also putting the lighter one kind of in the inner corner to just brighten everything right under the eye. And then blending that out with my sponge, putting a little bit on my forehead because y'all always try to say something when I don't put highlighter on my forehead, even though it's hella small, but I guess it does make it a little bit bigger. So I'm putting on liquid blush before I powder. This is the Rare Beauty blush, their orange one. I'm not putting a lot because I want to make sure that we can see what this bronzer can do, or if it can do anything at all. So I'm just putting a little bit of, just to add just a little something to the cheeks. Then I'm gonna set with my Pat McGrath under eye powder. If y'all saw, I have a video on this powder. I really like it, but I broke it, so yeah, it kind of sucks. But I'm just using going over it lightly, going over my concealer lightly with a powder brush. So that's kind of where we are. This is what we have done before it's time to apply the bronzer. So if you haven't guessed already, we are trying out the Charlotte Tilbury airbrush bronzer. I've never tried anything by Charlotte Tilbury, but I saw this bronzer and was intrigued and decided why not. So I'm taking the Smashbox powder brush and I'm just going in there. There's a little bit of kickback, but I really don't know what to expect. This is literally my first time opening it, using it. So yeah, I didn't know what to expect. Got a good amount of product on there and just decided to go. And so I'm just kind of dabbing it on, and I'm definitely seeing pigment happening, which is a good sign. And I'm just starting to blend it kind of, under my cheekbones and around my perimeter of my face. And I really like the color. It's a really nice kind of rich, warm brown. It's definitely showing up on my complexion. It kind of also matches my eyeliner a little bit, that shade of brown, and it looks really good. Like, I'm actually really pleasantly surprised. I didn't think I was gonna actually like it as much as I do. I just think that it's like a perfect color for my skin tone, and it doesn't look like I'm wearing too much. I don't know, it just looks really nice. It's looking really nice. So that's what I look like with the bronzer, and that's what I look like without it. So obviously, it did something. It's doing a lot of things, but it's doing something. So I'm gonna go ahead and even myself out on the other side. Same method, just using the powder brush. I do have other blush brushes that I normally use, but I wanted to use a clean brush. And y'all, we in a panorama. I have not washed my brushes, so I had to find a clean brush to use. So I'm just adding a little bit to my nose just for like a little bit of that sun-kissed look. And that is the end of the application. And this is my finished look. So let's talk a little bit about this bronzer. All right, y'all, so let's talk about this bronzer. So I'm gonna be 100% honest. When I bought this bronzer, I fully believed that I would be buying this bronzer and immediately returning it after filming this video, because I just felt like we have so many options. Like, I can't imagine that I would need one more bronzer added to my very vast bronzer collection. We're gonna get into that in another video, but y'all, I was wrong, okay? Like, I was wrong. this bronzer does exactly what it says it is. It's called airbrush bronzer, and y'all, my bronzer looks airbrushed. Like, I mean, okay, so I don't have the box in front of me, but on the back of it, it does say airbrush bronzer, a matte bronzing filter for face and body. So this is supposed to be used for face and body to like bronze up, add dimension, etc., etc. If you don't know what bronzer does, I have a few older bronzer videos that aren't up to what I think is to par, so I'm filming another bronzer video. There's a bronzer coming out that I'm waiting on, and once that bronzer comes out, I will do a full comprehensive 2021 bronzer for deep skin video. But for now, we're talking about this one. So yeah, like I was pleasantly surprised. Like, to be honest, Charlotte Tilbury as a brand, like, it doesn't move me. It doesn't really shake or grab me. I think it's definitely very luxe. It's almost like the kind of less melanated Pat McGrath to me. Like, if I'm keeping it HUD, if I'm keeping it real, like, I don't know, like, I think it's pretty, but like, and I know that Charlotte Tilbury is like a very like acclaimed makeup artist, so like no disrespect or anything, but I look at it and it's like cute, beautiful gowns, like, you know? So I really wanted though to like explore the luxury category and see what they have to offer in terms of deeper bronzers. So I felt like this one, I feel like it's fairly new. Well, at least these days the months are like running into each other. I think it's come out within the last 6 months at least. I feel like hopefully it's not older than that, but all right, so let's get into the actual bronzer itself. So this is what it looks like, obviously, as y'all saw, and it is this like gold hardware outer, kind of like a rosy gold, very pretty. It is quite a large pan. I have my Makeup Revolution pan here to compare. Just open it up. So they're like almost the same size. The Charlotte Tilbury one is a little bit smaller. Let me see the actual ounces. So in this is a 0.56 ounces. This is 0.5. So this actually has more. This has more. This is my Mented bronzer, which is slightly smaller. It has 0.35. I'm holding it up and not comparing it to what y'all want to see. So that is the size. This is not helpful. That is the size comparison there. So you do get a lot of products for the price. And so let's talk about the price. Oh no, I want to go over all the features. So large pan, nice gold exterior, and Charlotte Tilbury on the side, large mirror, premium product. So those are kind of all the traits of the bronzer. Now the price, this bronzer is, let me make sure I got it. Okay, so this bronzer is $55. Whew. Now, I mean, that is a steep price for a bronzer. Like I said, my bronzer collection is quite extensive at this point. This bronzer is $12. The Mented bronzer, I believe, is $30 or less. Actually, let me just look it up. I need to give y'all the tea, so let me just tell you what it is. Yeah, so the Mented bronzer is only $22. So you can get a good bronzer for deeper skin that doesn't cost this much. However, this bronzer is really good, y'all. Like, I love the way that it looks. I think that with a lot of times with bronzers and blushes, the reason, how can I put this? So a lot of times with bronzers and blushes, sometimes the cheaper bronzers and blushes will have a lot of pigment, but then that will kind of make it harder to use. It's almost like a chalky eyeshadow that's really pigmented, but then gets patchy. So like, a lot of times some of the, I'm not saying it about those two or any one in particular, but I'm just saying in general when you're talking about price point, a lot of times brands will like put a lot of pigment into a powder like blush or something, but then like it's very easy to kind of like go ham, whereas with this one, it's kind of almost foolproof, and I feel like that's what you're paying for. You're paying for the ability to create this airbrush look pretty easily. Like I didn't go ham, but you know, I put my brush in there. Like I swirled it around and got a lot of product on it, and it didn't like stick to my face. It didn't like leave like a weird like line that I had to blend out. It just kind of glided onto my skin, and it leaving this like airbrush bronzy look, and it just was so easy. And sometimes with makeup it's not always that easy. So if you're someone that just wants to treat yourself and you have the coin, whether you're a makeup beginner and you're not sure how to use bronzer, whether you want to give this as a gift, whether you're just a makeup junkie and you're like me and you're collecting them, I definitely think that if you are wondering if this particular one, and I didn't even say the shade name, my bad y'all, this is the deepest one, it's 4 deep. So if you're considering this, also if you're a makeup artist and you need something for your kit, I think, did I say that? I hope, if I didn't say that, that's another use case for this bronzer. If you fall into any of those categories, definitely try this out. Now, if you're someone who is just getting into makeup and you are like unsure how to use bronzer and you don't want to waste money, definitely there's other options for you. And like I said, we can get into that in another video. I actually just created a guide. There's like this new feature on Instagram where you can create guides. I'm sorry, I talk super fast. Whew, I'm so down. So this bronzer has me excited. So Instagram has a feature where you can create guides, basically like putting together your posts. It's a good way for me to put like compilations of my swatches together. Sometimes when y'all ask me a question if I've swatched something, and I have, it's like you have to scroll down. But now like it's easier for me to put everything in one place. So I say all that to say I have a bronzer guide of all my bronzer swatches up until this point. So you can find that. I'll have that link down below. But stay tuned for a video that kind of details all like my recommendations for bronzers for deeper skin tones. But yeah, so if you are the person that is just getting into makeup and you want something to try, you might not want to spend $55 on this, and that's completely understandable. There are other options out there for you. However, and I know I'm repeating myself, but this is just my final evaluation of this bronzer. However, if you are looking to treat yourself, if you're looking for something foolproof, if you are looking for something to put in your kit, if you are treating darker skinned clients, this is definitely a beautiful, beautiful product to add to your collection. I feel like it's just beautiful. The only thing I would say is that I think they need one more shade after this one, because I think if you're darker than me, if you're like 1 or 2 shades darker than me, this probably will work. But if you're like Nima Tang shade, this is not going to be dark enough, So that is pretty much all I have to say about this bronzer. Let me know what y'all think. Do you think it's worth the coin? Is it worth $55? Let me know in the comments down below. So that is all I have for y'all today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.